Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. You can take your seats. We're going to be starting the next session. Welcome to the Spain Pavilion. As you know, this space that we've got dedicated to the technological sector, both within our borders, but also beyond. Our next session is a roundtable organized by the OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and it's entitled OECD GFTech, Emerging Technologies and Their Convergence with Today's Digital Landscape. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome to the stage Ximo Puig, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of Spain to the OECD, who will give us some introductory remarks and introduce us to the panel members. Whenever you're ready, sir.
Good afternoon to you. Déjenme abrir este panel brevemente, hablando en español, ya que estamos en el pabellón español. Después todo el conjunto de la sesión será en inglés. El Foro Global de Tecnología de la OCDE trabaja como punto de encuentro entre especialistas, expertos, policymakers, para abordar las oportunidades y retos que plantean las nuevas tecnologías, siempre con una visión orientada a los derechos. España forma parte como país fundador de este foro y entiende la importancia de estos debates desde un enfoque transversal. Sin duda, la OCDE es el foro perfecto para este tipo de acciones mundiales, globales, y desde luego nosotros como España vamos a continuar apoyándolo siempre. Ha sido nuestro país un país que siempre ha mirado la OCDE como un espacio de encuentro entre democracias y también como un lugar de sabiduría sobre cómo avanzar en políticas públicas, mejores políticas públicas para una vida mejor de las personas. Nos ayudarán sin duda a resolver muchas de las políticas que en estos momentos están absolutamente presentes en nuestra sociedad. Hoy nos toca hablar de tecnologías cuánticas, aunque pueda sonar para muchas ciudadanas y ciudadanos como una ciencia lejana, bien al contrario, las tecnologías cuánticas, como se puede ver en este móvil, es todo lo contrario, tienen una realidad bien presente entre nosotros y una grandísima oportunidad para nosotros. Algunas ya tienen un alto nivel de madurez, como hemos podido observar, otras desde luego aún están desarrollándose. En el caso español tenemos startups nacionales como Multiverse, Luz Quanta, Kilimanjaro. Hay muchas empresas importantes que ya están ahí, otras aún están en desarrollo. Sin embargo, todas ellas supondrán sin duda un cambio disruptivo en nuestras sociedades cuando finalmente se desarrollen. Finalmente, quiero simplemente señalar lo fundamental que es la colaboración internacional, lo fundamental que es la capacidad que puede tener la OCDE para ayudar a una gobernanza mundial sobre estas tecnologías y desde luego desearles a todos que esta sesión sea una sesión productiva y sobre todo que continuemos trabajando juntos en ese objetivo común de también en el ámbito cuántico generar buenas políticas públicas para una mejor vida de los ciudadanos. Muchas gracias.
Ambassador, thank you very much for this kind introduction and also for having us here at this Spanish pavilion today. As the Ambassador mentioned, new technology developments are emerging and converging with important implications for societies and economies. So we're delighted to convene this panel to discuss the OECD Global Forum on Technology as a global platform. We're going to hear some updates on the activities of the technology experts and policymakers and discuss a little bit about what countries are looking for from the forum and how things are going so far. On the panel with me today, is Aleida Garcia, the Director of Artificial Intelligence from the Government of Spain. We also have Sarah Connolly, the Director for Digital Infrastructure from the United Kingdom, and Jerry Sheehan, who's the Director of the OECD Science and Technology and Innovation Directorate. Thank you all for participating today. Jerry, we're going to start with you because 2 years ago, the OECD, Spain, and the UK were here on this stage announcing, discussing the launch of the Global Forum. We were wondering if you could talk to us today about the highlights that have taken place in the Global Forum's activities so far, and a little bit about OECD's recent work in priority emerging technology areas.
Great, and it might take me a long time to do all that because so much has happened in those 2 very, very full years, but I'm very glad to have this opportunity to be back here in Barcelona, in Spain, to share with you some updates on what we've been doing around the Global Forum on Technology, which I'm going to say at the beginning and maybe through your other comments, I think has exceeded even a lot of the high expectations that were set for it from the beginning. And with great contributions from the UK, from Spain, the US, and other countries as well who have helped us through this process. For those who weren't here 2 years ago, I myself, I have to say, was not, but the Global Forum is a way for us at OECD to convene and extend our reach beyond our 38 OECD member countries, plus the EU, and to engage with stakeholders beyond the policy-making community who we usually work with through our more formalized committees and working parties. And it has been incredibly successful in helping us do that with the aim of bringing in outside experts from business, from the research community, from civil society to help us stay ahead of the curve. What are new technologies that are coming over the horizon that I think, as you said in your introductory remarks, both of you, offer great opportunity, but also bring with them some potential risks and concerns. And we know, as we've heard, technology moves a lot faster than policy making. So one of the things we need to, we all laugh, but it's true, right? And one of the best ways we can try to counteract that is by being more anticipatory and looking far ahead so that we have a better sense and have a little bit more time to get policy making aligned to the needs that new technology and emerging technologies bring. So I would say in terms of what the Global Forum has done, I mean, first is this notion of horizon scanning. And we've done that through a series of events that have taken place over the last 2 years. One that I'll highlight from September of 2024, not long ago, was looking at the human future. It was called the human future, what is on the horizon. And we brought together this multi-sectoral mix of policymakers, technologists, researchers, and those in civil society who looked at the ways that new tech developments relate to human health, augmenting our capabilities, augmenting our ability to learn, improve cognition through digitally enabled spaces, through advances in synthetic biology and others. So this was really an opportunity to look not at a particular technology, but at a cluster of different technologies that can help improve human performance. And I think this was another example of the kinds of convenings that we've done in other areas as well. We have also, so those events, right, are ways for us to gather, convene, to solicit input, but we've also established more established and long-lasting expert groups and communities. And this has been organized to date around 3 emerging technologies where we've had focused work. One of those is around quantum computing, quantum technologies, I should say more broadly. We're looking at computing, communications, sensing technologies around quantum. The second has been looking at immersive technologies, and we've seen a lot of that on display just around the halls of the Congress here today. Virtual reality and beyond, 3D immersive kinds of technologies. And the third, a little outside the digital space, is looking at synthetic biology. So biotechnologies, but other forms of synthetic biology that can affect human health, agricultural production, I mean, just help us in some industrial processes as well. So these groups have now met. We've put together expert groups, again, multi-stakeholder expert groups who have worked over the course of the last almost 2 years since we first established them to help advise, again, organizing events, to help us look over the horizon. And we've had them do work as well that is at the point now of coming to fruition. So we have each of these groups now producing technology primers, really technology and policy primers, and helping us identify in each area what are the opportunities, what are the potential risks, What is the time frame which some of those might arrive and be commercialized? We released the first of these reports, which was on quantum technologies, just about a month ago, recognizing this has been declared 2025 as a year of quantum science and technology. So we were able to bring that report together and launch that at the beginning of last month around some of the activities that were sent to celebrate the centenary, the 100-year anniversary of quantum mechanics. Second report just came out, I believe it was just last week, launched at an event in the US that was focused on synthetic biology. And our third report on immersive technologies is soon to launch. We should see it later this month, and will be, again, give us insight into new opportunities, new risks that we need policymakers to be attentive to, and giving us some direction that I can talk about in our next round of interventions about how we can follow up in each of these important areas so we maximize the benefits and minimize some of the risks associated with them. So again, I think a very successful 2 years, and now that we're seeing these first technology primers come out, I think a good demonstration of the value of the Global Forum on Technology.
Thank you so much, Jerry. Leda, steering these national strategy developments in emerging technology areas is an important avenue, and you've been doing a lot of work on that in AI. I'd like to hear a little bit about how you've been working to integrate those policy considerations in the activities that you're pursuing, and of course anticipating emerging technologies in your digital strategy.
Okay. Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you, everyone. Thank you to the OECD to be here. I'm very glad to be here with you and talking about strategies, digital strategies, and more focus about quantum technologies as an emerging technology. We are living, as we know, a crucial moment where emerging technologies are changing completely the way we live, the way we work, and even they can solve humankind problems. So, of course, these technologies are quite important. It's clear that emerging technologies are a basis for any sectoral policy. For example, from energy to health, policy development to agriculture, all of them consider emerging technologies as a key enabler, okay, to be developed their own priorities. AI is undoubtedly the star now in this emerging, it's not an emerging technology anymore, because it's being deployed intensively into industry. But it's a technology that has changed the way we move, the way we live. But it's not the only one. Quantum technologies can also solve very big problems, and then we have to take into account and do things in this moment in order to further this and implement this strategy. In Spain, we believe that any digital strategy, policy design, needs a cross and holistic view to achieve national goals. And as part of the European Union, we are completely aligned with European Union strategies and recommendations, and of course of international actors such as the OECD too. Being aware of the risks of these new technologies is also a pillar on developing a national strategy. In Spain, very much in line with the European Union and the OECD, we put the rights of our citizens before everything. So the design of our strategies is always citizen-centric. Our digital agenda 2026 that was liberated in 2020 with 40 million euros, most of it funded by the Recovery and Resilience Facility, is based in 3 pillars. The first of them is the data sovereignty, the digital technology sovereignty, for example, connectivity, cybersecurity. The other pillar is to boost the digital economy. And the third pillar, that's what I say, that we are quite focused on the risks of the technologies, and this is a citizen. So we develop also the Charter of Digital Rights in order to have into account the rights of our citizens, okay, when we develop these policies. Last year, in 2024, we launched the AI strategy. We updated the strategy that we already had in 2021. It was the first one. And this one was updated last year because, of course, we wanted to be at the forefront of the changes that the generative AI had poses to the humankind. We are now in the final steps of our quantum technology strategy. As we may know, quantum technology comes back by 1981 when 2 physicists, it was Benioff and Feynman, applying some of the principles of quantum mechanics to computing. However, the first quantum computer was not built until 30 years later. It was in 2011. And in 2022, a computer of 400 qubits was presented. Artificial intelligence was also had also a slow development, and it is now when it is being intensively deployed. Therefore, in the field of quantum, we have to continue researching and bringing it to the market, because the time will come when this computer of 1 million qubits can be built, giving the one who deploys it a quantum advantage. To develop the Spanish quantum technology strategy, we have followed a quite thoroughly approach with big experts in the field. We have analyzed the global situation in quantum. Some countries and big companies are making big investments in infrastructure. We consider that investigation in quantum technique is essential. For example, 2 weeks ago, Microsoft announced a new way to make quantum technologies using the Majorana fermion. So there's a long way now that we have to continue funding, and we have to continue building on our capacities in order to discover the way to make these quantum technologies come true in a real, in a real scenario. We know that the Spanish ecosystem regarding quantum communications is quite mature, so we have had a strong relationship with Spanish actors in this area. Quantum is essential in several sectors where systems are critical. For example, banking, for example, defense. So we have had several approaches to these sectors too in order to make our own strategy. And of course, digital security and privacy risks has to be also approached in line with the premier report on quantum of the OECD GFTech group. 2 weeks ago, we had our first national roundtable with all the Spanish stakeholders around the quantum technology strategy, and it was really quite fruitful. Okay, we had this debate that is necessary before launching a national strategy like this one. So, and we are now in the final phase of the elaboration of the strategy that will come soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Aleida. So, Sarah, emerging technologies are requiring an important evolution of digital infrastructures. That's what you're spending a lot of your time on. How are you anticipating the digital infrastructure needs of developments, and what are some of the key challenges and opportunities that you're seeing in this area?
Thank you, and thank you to the OECD for hosting. It's a great event. I think there are probably 3 things that I want to talk about, and then lots of challenges, but one in particular I'll mention. So in terms of the kind of the 3 things, I mean, we are spending a lot of, as everyone is, time, money, energy working out what the emerging technologies are, because we need to understand what it is that we need to therefore build infrastructure for. So be that in lots of public sector things, I later mentioned defense and banking, right? So working out the applications of those emerging technologies is really critical to working out what you need in terms of an infrastructure. I think, though, there are 2 things that we are sort of very clear that we need. The first is the connectivity. So I am the director responsible for telecoms, particularly future telecoms. And it is truly foundational. We can't, run AI, we can't run quantum, we can't realize the benefits of it if we don't have the infrastructure, the internet connections, the connectivity to people, to businesses throughout the country. So we are spending a great deal of time and energy, and we have a project run by the British government in collaboration with the public sector, with the private sector, on building digital UK, and we have over the last 4 or 5 years exponentially increased the number of premises in the UK that now has gigabit connectivity. So what we have done is try and future-proof it. That means there are some really interesting things that we are thinking about, particularly in what we call very hard-to-reach premises. So how do you make sure that a cottage in the north of Scotland has connectivity? That is quite a different prospect than trying to connect somebody in London. So we are kind of working through all of those, but connectivity really matters. And then the other thing that really matters, of course, is data centers, and making sure that, we were talking about it a little bit before we came on stage, making sure that there is the ability to process data and to run as part of a kind of critical bit of technology that we are investing in. And that comes with its own challenges, particularly around energy and water, but it is clear that we need to invest in those as sort of significant bits of digital infrastructure. There are lots of challenges in this. The thing that I would say, just to pick one, but it's particularly of mind at the moment, is we need to think quite hard. This is critical national infrastructure that we're talking about. So there is defence and security. We want to make sure that they are protected against cyber attacks. We want to make sure that this is protected against physical attacks. And so we are spending a lot of time and energy in building in those protections from the beginning.
Thank you very much. So we're running close on time, so I'm going to, for our last round, I'm going to make it a bit of a lightning round, and I think our real purpose and joint mission here is international cooperation, so it'd be great to hear from you, Aleida and Sarah, on what is the driver for Spain and for the UK in engaging in this activity. What are you looking for? I'll let you start, Aleida. We'll go to you, Sarah, after that, and then Jerry, maybe you can wrap it up with how the OECD is going to try and pick up that challenge on the topic of quantum.
Okay, so we believe that international cooperation is an important part of a better policy making process, and Spain has already demonstrated a strong commitment to international cooperation, aiming to play an active role in every international forum that talks about digitization or new technologies in general. Being, for example, on this GFTech, one example of that, because we are being from scratch, from the beginning. And for instance, last week we hosted the Digital LATAM Summit, also in Madrid, and we're now one of the most active countries when it comes to multi-country projects in the European Union. In this sense, following our strong commitment for international collaboration, we built on our national strategy on quantum technologies, taking in consideration not only our strengths as nation, as a country, but to foster also the ones of the other countries of the European Union. We are quite focused, of course, on trying to develop the European Union in the whole world. That's quite important for us. And we like to boost on the common efforts to play a prominent role in this field. But we want also to raise into consideration, as I said before, that in the development and implementation of strategies relating to emerging technologies, we have to take into account also the risk. And that's something that we have to take into account in global forums. That's not something that counts for Europe, China, the United States. We think that we should go together in this, because these technologies they are frontier technologies. They go farther from one country to another. So we have to take into account all these things in this type of forum like the OECD. I think is one of the best ones to do this type of work. Thank you.
Sarah.
This is difficult stuff. If it were easy, we would all know exactly what we were doing, but none of us do. So we should talk to our friends and we should learn from them.
Very well said. Jerry?
Well, we're going to provide you a platform and a forum for trying to learn from your friends, if you can, through the OECD, through the Global Forum on Technology. I think one of the areas where we do quite a bit of work at the OECD is around responsible innovation, right? So how do we take new technologies and move them forward in ways that are reflective of the values of the OECD countries, and we try to expand our engagement to take those same values, a human-centric, rights-based approach to new technology development, and can we kind of even expand the circle of countries that want to work with us in that area. I think one of the clear recommendations that came out from this the expert group, and was reinforced by our committees, our Digital Policy Committee and our Science and Tech Policy Committee, was that the time is right for us to move forward in trying to map out what can be effective principles for guiding the development and the deployment then of quantum technologies, computing, communication, and sensing. This builds a bit on the model some of you may be familiar with around artificial intelligence, right, where OECD put out in 2019 already, a first set of principles and recommendations to governments about how to move AI forward in a way that I think has now become the defining principles across a wide range, more than 40 countries now who've adopted these. So we think this is the time, as quantum technologies have moved quite a bit since the 1981. They're not quite in the marketplace yet, but it's still not too soon to try to get ahead of that commercial deployment and come up with a set of principles around ensuring transparency and trying to ensure that these are used in ways that will advance good applications that are beneficial for individuals, for the planet as well, and can help us move that forward in a human-centric way. So I think we're now trying to reconstitute the expert group so that it can best advise on those specific issues around principles, so it can feed into our committees of policymakers. We have an event that's planned for just next month, right here in, well, not here in Barcelona, but in Madrid, in April, that will be looking at quantum technologies and looking at some of the national strategies. So we heard about 2 components of those today.
Sure.
We'll look at those strategies and we'll use that event to help move us forward on our work. And I know the Global Forum more generally beyond quantum will continue to move as well on issues around immersive technology, synthetic biology. And I think in the second half of this year we'll have another event that will also be more of a horizon scanning. Where should we be going next with the Global Forum, again building on this very good model that I think we have in place. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Jerry, Sarah, and Aleida for the engagement on this. Thank you to everyone participating and to Spain for having us here today. It was really good. We'll have to do this again maybe in another 2 years with a new update. Where are we now? All right. Thank you, everyone.